Welcome back to the Business Buzz, where we break down some of the interesting happenings in the business world.
That's right.
And today,
You know.
we're going to be focusing on PepsiCo.
Yeah, the snack and beverage giant.
Exactly.
Making some big moves.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at a plant closure.
Yeah.
Impacting a small town.
Some job losses.
Job losses.
Maybe talk about some 90s snacks.
Oh, yeah, for a little bit of nostalgia.
A little bit of a blast from the past.
So PepsiCo is closing its Frito-Lay plant in Liberty, New York.
Yeah, and this actually isn't an isolated incident.
Right.
They closed a number of bottling plants just last year.
Hundreds of layoffs.
Yeah, laying off hundreds of employees.
And Liberty's a small town.
Yeah.
So 287 jobs.
That's a lot.
That's a big impact.
Yeah, I mean, losing a major employer like that can really have these ripple effects throughout a community.
The article mentions that Liberty officials are working really hard to find a new business to take over the facility.
Yeah, I mean, that's good news for those employees, right?
Yeah, it's a little glimmer of hope.
Yeah, there's a glimmer of hope.
But there's a larger trend here.
For sure.
The article mentions other companies in the food and beverage industry, Campbell Soup Del Monte. They've also been closing plants.
Yeah, it's definitely a trend across the industry.
PepsiCo said that the closure is due to the pace of growth for this product line, paired with the broader industry pace of growth.
So basically what they're saying is that, popcorners, which is the snack that they make in this plant, it's just not growing fast enough to keep the plant open.
But, PepsiCo as a whole is doing fine, right?
Yeah, their revenue has grown significantly in recent years.
So this could be a strategic move.
Yeah, potentially.
To streamline their operations.
Maximize profits.
Yeah, maximize those profits.
Exactly.
And this isn't just about one company.
Right.
It's happening across industries.
Yeah, a recent survey, actually, of U.S. hiring managers, almost half of them predicted layoffs at their companies.
Wow.
So
that's a lot.
It's a sign of the times.
Okay, so, we've been talking about all this, heavy news.
Yeah.
Let's take a little break.
Sure.
Let's talk about some 90s snacks that have disappeared.
Okay, I'm game.
So we got Shark Bites.
Oh, yeah.
Fruit snacks. Remember those?
I loved those.
Oh, those were so good.
Yeah.
And then there was that green gooey goodness High C Ecto Cooler.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was a classic.
What was your favorite 90s snack?
Oh, I have to say Dunkaroos.
Oh.
The cookie and the frosting.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a stroke of genius.
So good.
So good.
They just don't make them like they used to.
No, they don't.
But, okay, back to the serious stuff.
Right.
We've established that PepsiCo is closing plants, potentially impacting small towns like Liberty. And it seems like this could be part of a larger trend.
A larger trend of layoffs across industries, yeah.
Exactly.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
So the question is, what are the deeper implications of these developments? And what do they mean for the future of, businesses, workers, the economy as a whole?
Big questions.
Big questions.
Yeah. We've talked about the impact on these workers and their communities.
Right.
But zooming out a little bit.
Yeah.
What do these closures tell us about the overall health of the economy?
Right. Are we seeing those first tremors of a recession?
Yeah. I mean, that's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
Layoffs are often seen as a leading indicator of an economic downturn.
Companies start tightening their belts.
Exactly.
And they start letting people go.
Yeah, because they're anticipating slower consumer spending.
Right. If people are worried about their jobs, they tend to hold back on those big purchases.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then that just further slows down economic activity.
Right. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It really can be, yeah.
So is it all doom and gloom?
Well, not necessarily. Economics is rarely black and white. Some experts actually argue that these layoffs, while concerning, could be a necessary correction after a period of unsustainable growth.
Like a rebalancing of the scales.
Exactly. The pandemic really threw everything out of whack.
For sure.
And it created these unique economic conditions, supply chain disruptions, fluctuating demand, and all those government stimulus measures.
Right.
So it's possible that companies are just adjusting to a new normal.
Okay.
And right-sizing their operations for a more sustainable future.
That makes sense. But what does all of this mean for us, the average consumers?
Yeah.
Will we see higher prices or fewer choices on the shelves because of all these closures?
It's definitely a possibility.
Okay.
Whenever you have reduced supply,
Yeah.
basic economics tells us that prices tend to rise.
Right.
And as companies are streamlining their operations, they might decide to just discontinue less profitable product lines,
Right.
which leads to fewer options for consumers.
So maybe we should stock up on all of our favorite snacks now, just in case.
Well, I wouldn't recommend panic buying just yet,
Okay.
but it's always wise to be mindful of
Yeah.
your spending habits. Pay attention to those price fluctuations. Consider exploring alternative brands, and perhaps most importantly, stay informed.
So what can we do to stay ahead of the curve and make informed decisions in light of all these potential economic shifts?
It all boils down to staying engaged and being a critical consumer of information.
Right.
Don't just skim those headlines.
Yeah.
Dig deeper into the data, research different perspectives, and form your own conclusions.
So don't just take everything at face value.
Right.
Be a savvy consumer of news and economic analysis.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to have those tough conversations.
Okay.
Talk to financial advisors, discuss these trends with your friends and family, even engage in healthy debates online.
Right.
The more you engage with these complexities of the economy,
Yeah.
the better equipped you'll be to navigate it.
Okay, so we've talked about this potential for an economic downturn.
Yeah.
But let's flip the script for a moment.
Okay.
What if these layoffs aren't a sign of impending doom, but rather a catalyst for some positive change? What if they're pushing companies to innovate and adapt?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
There's a whole school of thought that believes that periods of economic disruption can actually be breeding grounds for ingenuity.
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
Exactly. Companies that are facing challenges are often forced to rethink their strategies, invest in new technologies,
Right.
explore new markets, and ultimately reinvent themselves.
And that could lead to new job opportunities,
Absolutely.
new industries,
Yeah,
and ultimately a more resilient and dynamic economy in the long run.
precisely. It's about seeing these shifts not as setbacks,
Right.
but as opportunities for evolution and growth.
So what can we as individuals do to embrace this potential for positive change? How do we position ourselves to not just weather the storm,
Yeah.
but thrive in the midst of it?
It all comes down to proactivity and a willingness to adapt.
Yeah.
Don't shy away from learning new skills, expanding your knowledge base, and networking with people in different fields.
Right.
Be open to new possibilities and embrace the fact that change is the only constant.
So be adaptable, be resilient, and most importantly, be a lifelong learner.
Absolutely, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Especially in times of uncertainty.
Right.
The more you understand about the forces at play in the economy, the better equipped you'll be to make informed decisions and navigate those inevitable twists and turns.
It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're seeing these potentially negative signs, like plant closures and layoffs.
Right.
But at the same time, there's this underlying sense of opportunity,
Yeah.
a chance for businesses and individuals to reinvent themselves and emerge stronger.
It's a classic tale of disruption and innovation.
Yeah.
And as we've discussed, the decisions we make today will ultimately determine whether we succumb to the challenges or seize the opportunities that lie ahead.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, exploring the complexities of the economy, the ripple effects of these plant closures, and the potential for both downturn and positive change.
Yeah, it's a lot to process.
It is a lot to process.
I'm sure our listeners have some insightful takeaways.
You know, we've been on quite a journey here.
We have.
From a single plant closure in a small town all the way to a potential global economic shift.
Yeah, it's a lot to digest.
It is a lot to digest.
And it kind of leaves us with that big question of,
What now?
yeah, what now? What do we do with all of this?
Right. We can't just leave everybody hanging with this vague sense of economic uncertainty.
Right.
So what concrete steps can people take to kind of navigate these potentially choppy waters?
Yeah, I mean, it really starts with that critical thinking that we talked about earlier.
Right.
You know, don't just passively absorb information. Challenge it, analyze it, and really think about how it connects to your own personal circumstances.
So we're not just talking about, understanding the stock market or interest rates.
Yeah.
We're talking about connecting these larger economic forces
Yeah.
to your own personal finances, your career choices, even your spending habits.
Exactly. It's about bringing it home.
Right.
You know, if you're concerned about potential job losses in your industry,
Yeah.
maybe it's time to start thinking about upskilling networking, exploring those alternative career paths.
Right.
If you're seeing price increases at the grocery store, maybe it's time to reevaluate that budget, look for deals, or even get creative with meal planning.
So it's about being proactive,
Absolutely.
adaptable, and maybe a bit more mindful of how these larger trends can impact our everyday lives.
For sure. And remember, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
The more you understand about these forces that are at play in the economy, the better equipped you'll be to make those informed decisions that'll benefit you and your family.
That's a great point. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by all this economic news.
It really is.
But by taking the time to learn and understand it, we can empower ourselves
Absolutely.
to make smarter choices.
For sure.
Right? And don't forget the power of community.
Oh, that's so important.
Talk to your friends, your family, your colleagues about these issues.
Yeah.
Share your concerns. Brainstorm ideas. Support each other.
Yeah. Sometimes just having those conversations can help us feel a little bit less alone.
Right.
And a little bit more equipped to face whatever challenges come our way.
That's a wonderful thought to leave our listeners with.
Yeah.
We may be facing some uncertain times, but by staying informed, being proactive, and supporting each other, we can navigate these challenges.
We can do it.
And maybe even emerge stronger on the other side.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of business and economics.
My pleasure.
We hope you found it insightful and empowering. And remember,
Stay curious.
stay curious.
Stay engaged.
Keep those conversations going.
Yeah.
Until next time, happy crunching.